Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the On the Pony Express podcast in Charlotte for ACC Media Days. Thursday, wrapping it up, day 3. Of course, Bill Belichick, Dabo Swinney, Manny Diaz, many others taking the podium and the stages here at the Hilton Charlotte Uptown. I'm Billy Embody, Dean Rawlski. With me, we will have Logan Parr, offensive line for SMU, as well as SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings on the show today, and we'll recap day 3 and final takeaways from Charlotte here on this edition of the show, which starts right now.
In today's economy, you need 2 jobs just to afford breakfast. Filling up your tank? Might as well finance it. But there's some good news. Northwest Insurance Agency can actually save you some money. Auto, home, business, and more custom coverage without the custom price tag. Northwest Insurance. Protect more. Spend less.
This is the On the Pony Express podcast, part of the On3 network. Check out all the SMU coverage you need at ontheponyexpress.com. Now, here's your host, Billy Embody.
1, 2, 3, let me go.
That's right, day 3 wrapping up. Our run in Charlotte is over, Dean. And look, I don't want to say they saved the best for last, of course, because for us, it was all about SMU and making the most of that day. But, man, we woke up this morning and you get going and you quickly realize that Dabo Swinney is walking through the door. You know that North Carolina State are stepping in to the Hilton Charlotte Uptown, and Duke, of course, as well. Boston College and Virginia Tech, I think, as well, rounded things out. But the atmosphere was taken up a notch for today with all of the star power and, of course, the in-state programs right down the road getting up here.
Right, and you wondered, because it was the final day, if the media for other schools had left and maybe it would be a little empty. Not the case at all. Today was the busiest day. We even had some interviews of Clemson players behind us that I don't think any other team got that sort of treatment. So that's just the Clemson effect. And, North Carolina's getting going right now as well. We just heard from Coach Bill Belichick. So, yeah, busy day here in Charlotte.
And look, we wish we could wait, all the way to the end and hear from, some of these other coaches, Dave Dorian going up there and a couple of others. But we've got a plane to catch. So we've seen a lot, though. I think today was a big time, and we'll be joined shortly after we are recording this by Clemson wide receiver Antonio Williams. But we got to spend a lot of time with Clemson today. And it's a team that SMU obviously faces right in the teeth of its schedule, right in the middle of the season, a huge matchup in Death Valley, which, the Battle of the Death Valleys is coming week 1 for Clemson and LSU. But they are just so trained the right way when it comes to when they talk about their culture or their competition or what have you. You can tell that Dabo Swinney is just, I don't want to say got it on autopilot, because he always seems to challenge them and find ways to get back to Charlotte. But you can just tell the culture is so ingrained in those guys.
Yeah, and just hearing from them, everybody here has talked about Clemson, the highest returning production in the country, 81%. Well, that also means they're going to have a lot of senior leaders, and you can tell. I mean, it almost feels like you're listening to an NFL team talk when those guys go up on stage. We heard from Dabo Swinney, Kate Klubnik, TJ Parker, and Peter Woods on the podium. And to your point, just super professional. And I think, again, they've got all that production on the field, but there's an intangible there about their experience off the field as well.
And I talked with Kate Klubnik off to the side a little bit, and, he was recruited by Rhett Lashley really heavily when he was the offensive coordinator at SMU before he went to Miami. And so they've got a good relationship. And not only that, him and Kevin Jennings have spent some time together this summer, Manning Passing Academy, as well as Athletes First retreat for some of the players, which is, a reality of today's NIL world. But, they just have a lot of respect for SMU. And whether that's from the culture and they respect everybody or whatever, but I think they really found out a lot about SMU playing them. They jump out to that big lead. They make a statement early, and then SMU claws back. I mean, I talked to Peter Woods, and just the amount of respect he had for what SMU put together was, apparent. He didn't just say, oh, we didn't do this or we didn't do that. He was like, man, sometimes the game's the game and guys make plays, and that's what SMU did in the second half. So they're anticipating a tough challenge again when SMU heads into Clemson.
Yeah, and let's not forget what Dabo Swinney said right after the ACC championship game. He went to bat for SMU and said, this is a college football playoff team. So just showcasing his respect there. And, yeah, there's no doubt Clemson is going to take every team but SMU very seriously when the Mustangs make the trip in the middle of October.
Speaking of respect, you have to respect Bill Belichick and him coming into this league, regardless of all the things with SMU wide receiver Jordan Hudson going on over there. Dabo Swinney is very good at the mic. He's very, very, descriptive, long-winded, all those things. And he said, I've just learned so much from Bill Belichick since he's arrived in the league. And Bill Belichick was like, he just laughed. He was asked about it in the main press conference room. And those of you might have seen it on ACC Network, but he just kind of laughed. He was like, "We're all learning from Dabo. But I respect him. Thank you, very nice. But we're all learning from Dabo." And Rhett Lashley kind of talks up Dabo that way as well.
Yeah, and Clemson is really the golden child of the ACC and has been that way for quite some time. And a lot of that is because Dabo has been there. It's just kept his consistency. I mean, one quote he said in his press conference that I had not realized is every player that has signed for Clemson since 2009 has won a national championship. So it's a super impressive program. And to Bill Belichick's point, yeah, everybody's learning from Dabo Swinney.
And Bill Belichick's press conference, I thought was just I just kind of giggled off to the side throughout it. We had a fullback question. We had just some other things. We had the question about Dabo. But, he is just very, I think, believes, as he should, in his process and what they're going to bring to that football team in UNC. They want it. They brought in over 70 players, and they want to trust their process of developing and making them great on the field players. Something he brought up was obviously everybody knows about drafting Tom Brady so late, Julian Edelman so late, and they changed the program. Well, some of that is not necessarily applicable because it's not the same structure, but the way they've retooled their roster and evaluated, that's where they feel like, hey, we can scout. That's something that we know we can do. And that gives them a little bit of confidence that they're going to be able to develop these players into a really good team. And it starts with an interesting test. Week 1 on Monday night against TCU, which now has a ton of fanfare around it.
Right, and something else that was interesting that he brought up is, everybody wants to talk about, well, how is his coaching going to translate to coaching college kids compared to these NFL veterans that he coached? And he said, these college kids are more receptive. They haven't been around these schemes and been around football as long as the NFL guys to where they've built some habits. And so he said he's enjoyed getting to watch the progress of the players, even in just the first couple of months he's been there. But yeah, man, that first game against TCU is going to be a fun one. I'll never die.
Got to spend some time with Manny Diaz as him and his staff look to build on a strong first year at Duke. And I think an interesting thing is just how similar him and Rhett Lashley are. You can tell why they are friends. Rhett does a good job of talking up competition and how it's everywhere. And I tried to get one past Manny. I said, what are the key position battles for you? He said, well, we need competition everywhere. Because if what we did last year is what we're going to roll out again, it's not going to be good enough. And I think that's a sign of a program that I don't want to say is behind SMU, because they're going to be a good team this year, I think, but they are behind as far as the culture development and kind of getting everything the way they want it. And so he has to continue to challenge his guys and keep pushing them. And I was really impressed with them and kind of what they're bringing to the table in Manny Diaz's second year.
Yeah, and not that my opinion means everything, but I do think they are one of the teams that's not being talked about enough. The sleeper team that everybody's talking about is Georgia Tech, but Duke has Chandler Rivers in the secondary. I mean, he might be the best corner in the ACC. They're stacked pretty well in the trenches on both sides. I think everybody in their starting lineup on the defensive line had at least 3 sacks last year, so a lot of production there, a lot of experience on the offensive line. And then Jonathan Brewer, former SMU QB coach, is going to have some fun with his new QB, Daria Mensah, in the fold.
And that's something that is similar to SMU as well. And just something I've kind of picked up being around Manny is they always want to have a top-flight quarterback. And in year 1, they got Malik Murphy, a big name, and he was good, but he wasn't what I think they needed to have at the level that they needed it. And that's why they go out and they get Darian Mensah. And regardless of the reported numbers, they're going to be big numbers. And that's what they're hoping, that they'll be able to obviously get somebody at home, homegrown and things like that. And like SMU ended up with Preston Stone and Kevin Jennings. But, this is a world where if you don't have a quarterback, you really don't have a chance. I mean, it's still a quarterback-driven, college football world that we're in, and that's why Duke was ready to step up and play that game and go out and get a Darian Mensah.
Absolutely, and a couple of things. One, when people saw Malik Murphy enter the transfer portal, there were some question marks there. That seems like that was more on the Duke side. They were okay letting him go. Because to your point, when they brought him in, he had started some games for Texas when Quinn Ewers went down 2 years ago at this point, and so he had the experience there. Just didn't quite live up to the hype. They had a nice receiving core, had a couple of receivers go to the NFL, and so they bring in Darian Mensah for the big numbers. But people have to remember, they're hoping and expecting to have him for multiple years as well. And maybe that's why the number's so high. When you look at some of the other schools, like a Carson Beck and a Miller Moss and these other schools that are going for that one-and-done approach, Duke's trying to build something and build season by season.
Yeah. Before we go any further, I do want to remind you guys about our friend Mark Villasana, Northwest Insurance Agency. Give him a call today and discuss your rates, insurance, your coverage, and make sure that they get you handled if you need to make a change. NWAgencies.com is where you can find more about our friends at Northwest Insurance Agency. We also want to remind you guys about our friends at StatusJet, statusjet.com. Reach out to David Henry and his team today, and they will get you right for the college football season. Traveling around in the most refined and impressive way you can with our friends at StatusJet is the way to do it. And when you mention us at On the Pony Express, you do get a discount on a round-trip flight with our friends at StatusJet. So make sure you take advantage of it. Talk about your options. Put together a group with your friends, family, coworkers, clients, whatever, and make sure you get your SMU football season planned the right way. So, Dean, any final takeaways from Charlotte here as we await throwing it to our interviews with Kevin Jennings and Logan Parr?
Not too much. Just it was a great experience, so thank you for making this happen.
Well, thank these guys right here.
Yeah, exactly. But just hearing from all the different teams and getting to learn more about them, I mean, it really is an open race. People have made a big deal about that all week long. As we've talked about in a lot of the podcasts, Clemson seems to be not by any means a lock to come back to Charlotte in December, but certainly a front runner. But that second team, I mean, you can make a case for 6 or 8 teams. Yeah. So it'll be fun to watch the season unfold.
I think the really nice thing about this week, and now that I've done ACC Media Days twice, you've done it once. Next year we'll be, really like rolling, because we didn't do Radio Row last year. We just were in and out, and it was incredible. It was much more fun last year in a sense, but this year, being here the 3 days, I feel like we've learned a lot more about the conference as a whole. So this is going to be a lot of fun, and looking forward to getting back here next year. But for now, we're going to throw it to our interview with SMU offensive lineman Logan Parr. But before we do, I want to remind you guys about our friends at the Thomas Auto Group as well. Head up 75 in McKinney, visit any of their 4 dealerships in the area, and get employee pricing when you mention On the Pony Express on new and pre-owned vehicles. So great time. Go online, check out their stock of vehicles, new and pre-owned. Get in a new vehicle before school starts. That's a great time to do it. Get a fresh set of wheels to be pulling up for pickup and drop off and all of that. So head up to the Thomas Auto Group. Go to thomasautogroup.com and make sure you mention that On the Pony Express sent you. But for now, we want to send it over to our interview with SMU offensive lineman Logan Parr. Welcome back to the show, live from ACC Media Days in Charlotte. On the Pony Express podcast, rolling on. Now joined by SMU offensive lineman Logan Parr. Logan, thanks for stopping in. I hope Charlotte's been good to you. How's this offseason been to you so far?
It's been really good. I put on a little bit of muscle. My squat went up 100 pounds. My bench, I'm hitting 500 now, so pretty good.
Yeah. Well, and after last summer, you really didn't get to do too much. Mm-hmm. You were working with the plate or the the block or whatever, I think, from what you were telling us. What does that mean for you to have this whole off season, to work hard, to be in the weight room and all those things?
So that was one of the main things about me coming back, is I wanted a whole off season to get my body right and get to the place where I knew I could be. I did have my shoulder injury last year, but right now it's at 100%. I'm playing golf, playing Frisbee golf with my roommate Hibby all the time, but it's something that I'm really excited for.
As fall camp starts a week from tomorrow, it's going to be hot, it's going to get ugly. What do you want to see from your offensive line group on the field, but also just as a unit off the field together?
So I think we have a good culture already. We hang out a lot outside of football, and this is probably the most together of a group I've ever seen in college. I've been here for a while. About to be my sixth unit. So it's something that I'm really excited for. Coach Justice is going to get us right for sure. We have a really hard practice every day, and he expects a lot out of us. So once we get the first couple days in, I think we're going to hit it running.
What is it like, having a new center, Addison Nichols next to you? They've had some other guys in there. There's some competition at right guard. There's competition across this team every day, all those things. But what's the group shaping up like, on the offensive line so far?
Like I said, I think we have a great culture, and that's us hanging out outside of football, doing little things outside of football, and you can see it already in the off-season workouts. We have a lot of leaders, and we got a lot of older guys as well, and we expect a lot out of each other. So,
are there any things that you really honed in on as far as your technique, your skills on the field that you are looking forward to unveiling in this 2025 season?
So one thing for me in the outside zone game, on the backside of outside zone, I wouldn't gain a lot of ground with my step, and that's something I've been working on with trainers outside, all that kind of stuff, and just getting the muscle memory down so I'm not thinking about it whenever I get to it. And I think I've uncovered a new level of my game, and I can be able to move a lot better than I had in the past.
It's no secret the SMU defensive line lost a lot of production from last year, but I've heard some people say that it might be taking a step back. Now, you go up against that defensive line every day. What can you tell people about how talented that group is?
I think we did a good job at addressing our needs in the offseason. We brought in a lot of good people, a lot of great players. Terry Webb's going to be a dog for us. That's a dude. Emba's one of the strongest on-field guys I've gone against. That guy's a dude. So I think we got a lot of good pieces, and they're going to blend together well.
What makes those two difficult to, try to contain or move around and things like that between them? Because they're very different.
Yeah. So Terry's very elusive, very quick twitch, and will get you on your heels when you're not expecting it. Emba's a powerful guy, and in the outside zone game, inside zone game, it's hard to move him. And then as well, pass rush. If you don't get on him early, he's going to walk you back into the quarterback.
From what we were able to see in the spring, it seemed like you guys were able to pop some explosive run plays, get Chris Johnson Jr., Derek McFall kind of going in that regard. Last couple springs, it's been it's been difficult at times against that defensive line and the offensive line, having some injuries. What did you notice, as far as takeaways from your group on the offensive line that makes you confident going into the season?
I think we can move better than any group that I've been a part of. We got a lot of athletes. And like I said, I've been working on that to try to get that into my game because, like I said, I'm a strong player and I'm not the most athletic guy, so I'm trying to hone in on that. And really, I think that's the theme of our offensive line is that we're really athletic.
I think there for offensive linemen, there's protecting your quarterback and then there's blocking for Kevin Jennings, and it's a little bit different. And with the new faces that have come in, have you been able to tell some of the offensive linemen? And you don't have to say, obviously, what they are, but some of Kevin's tendencies and what to expect when he's behind you.
Well, Kevin can make any play explosive. Any given play, he can be back there for 12 seconds and throw an 80-yard touchdown. So it's just continuing on with the play, and that's something that you just get while you play. That's a feeling thing. So it's something we're going to have to hone in on in fall camp, but I think we're going to hone on it.
Is there a little bit of a chip on the shoulder about how the season ended, just as a whole? Because it was a great year, but obviously sour taste in the endings, I guess.
Yeah, obviously it didn't go the way we wanted it to at the end of it, but I think we had a great journey getting there. We have a great culture still, and I think as we continue this thing, building on that culture, the team aspect of it will bring us back to where we were.
You've been one of the great stories of the transfer portal and why it can work and why sometimes guys do need a fresh start. You look at some of these guys that have come in here, and it's similar stories this offseason. How much can you share with those guys and say, look, if you buy in, here's what it could look like? I'm a reason, so-and-so and some of the other stories off this team?
I try to be an example for everyone in the country. Like my story, I got ran out of my last place, told I should never play football again, and here I am at Media Day of all places. So it's crazy how far you can come if you just dive into it and become the player that you know you can be.
There's always a couple offensive linemen at every Media Days that ends up being kind of like, the friendly, the comedic relief for some of the reporters. Do you have any good stories that you're trying to tell and share today?
I'm just going to talk about food, and hopefully that gets the job done. Hopefully whenever I have a rough moment, just bring up food, and hopefully I get through it.
Where did you guys eat last night?
We ate at 48 Steakhouse, and I probably gained 9 pounds.
Well, fall camp's just around the corner.
Yeah, I'll lose it there. I'll lose it there for sure.
Yeah, the heat advisory already going out in Dallas. How important is it for you guys to start hot because of what you guys do have in the early non-conference slate?
Well, I think, like I said, just building on our culture, basically. We're a fast-paced team as well, and getting those team reps in the heat and starting fast is something that we really need to do.
All right. Well, what would it mean to finish with an ACC championship, which would obviously punch your ticket to the college football playoff?
I'd have a storybook career, to be honest with you. Came in, won it the first year in the AAC, and then everyone told us we couldn't do it last year. We get to that point, we fall short, and getting back to that point would be something that would mean a lot to me.
Well, we hope that we're back here in December covering it. So thanks so much for the time, Logan Parr, and enjoy those final days before fall camp.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Appreciate y'all.
All right, shout out Logan Parr. He's one of the good ones. Just a great guy. Really keeps it real, honest. You get a good understanding about where that offensive line is going into the season. They feel strongly about that unit. There's no question about that.
Absolutely. I mean, it was one of my main takeaways, and what the surprises from this week was just how confident he is in that offensive line. And it's because of a mix of both new talent, returning talent, but the culture in that room. I think he said to both, it's the best culture and the best amount of talent he's seen at SMU. He said there are 8 or 9 guys that can start. So it's an exciting room to watch, especially heading into fall camp.
And speaking of exciting, people around here have, obviously for right reasons, have talked up Kevin Jennings and what he brings to the table as SMU's quarterback, back for his second year, his first full year of the starter now. We were catching up with Roddy Jones, and we'll have him on one of our episodes over the next week or so. But, man, when you look at what SMU did and the decision they made, and we were talking about the college football playoff, and I was kind of clicking and, just kind of listening and thinking, man, ifs and buts, but who knows what happens if, he's a starter before the season. I'm not saying they're going to beat BYU. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm not saying everything's going to go the same way with all the right things going their way. But, gosh, there was just so much around that college football playoff discussion where I'm like, that the world now where SMU is going into is you've got Baylor, you've got TCU, 2 massive non-conference games. And if you can come away with wins in both of those and obviously go into league play 4-0, it just is a different set of circumstances than what we've seen, what we saw last year where, Kevin Jennings didn't start the BYU game. He played the majority of it. But it's just different. And now SMU has him back as a starter for that second year, and you never know what that can mean moving forward.
Totally. And if SMU can't start the season 4-0, I think it's not just ACC championship or bust. I still think there's a path as an outlier bid at that point because the Mustangs conference schedule is tougher. And if their losses come against maybe, let's just say, Clemson and Miami, who could very well be the 2 teams in Charlotte, that's going to be hard to argue against putting them in when you've beaten 2 of, at the very least, what you expect to be 2 top half teams in the Big 12.
Yeah, if Clemson and Miami are the losses for SMU, I'm sure there's going to be, it's already been settled, don't put them in. But there's also the world where both Clemson and Miami are undefeated in league play going into, and I'm not sure if that Clemson and Miami play each other. I don't think they do. So if they're unbeaten going into the conference championship game in league play at the very least, then you look at something and you're sitting there saying, okay, those 2 almost got to be in. If they handle business, maybe have 1 loss and out of conference or something. Clemson loses to LSU, maybe. All these different scenarios. But it's similar to what Roddy was saying about Georgia Tech. If that means you're not in Atlanta or you're not in Charlotte, but your overall resume is still really strong, then that's the path for the ACC to get 3 teams. The path is having a Clemson, a Miami, or an SMU be, unbeaten in league play. SMU and Clemson, of course, play each other, but there's a path for 3 teams, and that's the big thing. And who knows how SMU is able to start off this year now that they have Kevin coming back for a second year as well.
Yeah. It'll be exciting to watch him again have an entire full season and see what that full off season really did for him.
Yeah. So without any further ado, we'll throw it over to our interview with Kevin Jennings. And, of course, a reminder, guys, as we close out this podcast, we really appreciate our sponsors for sending us to Charlotte for ACC Media Days. Northwest Insurance Agency, Mark Villasana. Go to nwagencies.com today. Learn more about how he can help you in the world of insurance. Also, Status Jet, and, of course, the Thomas Auto Group. So great time here in Charlotte, Dean. We're wrapping it up. We hope you guys enjoy this episode. We'll be back next week with tons of interviews and, of course, fall camp opens for SMU. So lots of news and notes to be passed along. But one more thing, something's brewing in recruiting. That's all I've got to say. So $1 for your first week. I don't know if you'll get it through in that first week, but I think you will. And it might be a big one. So, or it will be a big one depending on how you view it. But I think it's a big deal if it happens. So that's all I'm going to say. But hope you guys enjoyed all the podcasts from Charlotte. There's much more to come. We've got a ton of interviews. So make sure you subscribe, like, follow, all of those things. Our YouTube, Spotify, and Apple platforms. For Dean Rawlsky, I'm Billy Embody. Kickoff is just around the corner. We appreciate you guys listening to the On the Pony Express podcast, wrapping up from Charlotte for ACC Media Days. Thanks for joining us. We'll catch you guys next time.
Welcome back to the show. Now really pumped up about our next interview. SMU quarterback Kevin Jennings. You're back here again,
right?
So you have the experience. Yeah. Did you share anything with the guys about how to make the most of ACC Media Days?
I definitely did, because my first time coming in, everything went pretty well. But I got on the podium, I was a tad bit nervous. So I told them to be ready for that and just get the nerves out early. So yeah.
This team comes in totally different than last year. Right. A lot of questions of what SMU is going to do that first year of the ACC.
Right.
You guys end up back here in December, of course, and make the college football playoff.
Yes, sir.
Is there a different feeling, coming into this, not only because you've been here before, but you guys did have success last year?
I think it's a different feeling. Like I told the guys earlier, I never felt so good about a team coming in this season. And the things we were doing in the offseason, summer workouts, all of that, everybody's competing, everybody's, trash talking, pumping each other up and all of that. So I never felt so good about a team. I'm excited to see what we're going to do this year.
And for me, one of the reasons I think SMU is going to be so good is because of the tight end room, and you're hoping to have a fully healthy room.
Yeah.
What can that room create for you in terms of mismatches and just game-changing plays throughout the season?
Yeah, we got 3 guys that can go out there and play, really. We got R.J. Maryland, we got Matt Hilbner, we got Stone Eby. All of those guys are so versatile. They can get out there, play receiver, block in the core, and all of that. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do, and I'm expecting a big season out of them for sure.
We all might not have known it going into this season, but of course Bouchard breaks out.
Right.
Now you got to replace him, and you've got options, you've got new faces, you've got speed. Though.
Right. Yes, sir.
What is that running back room looking like from what you've seen?
It's definitely going to be hard to replace a guy like that, like Bouchard Smith. But I think our guys are, living up to the challenge, ready to work each and every day. We got 4 guys right there. So we got Derek McFall, T.J. Harden, Chucky. We got some guys, Chris Johnson, and I'm excited to see those guys play as well. Like you said, we got some speed, like true speed. All of those guys can roll. We got bigger guys and all of that, so I'm excited to see what they're going to do as well.
What did you work on this offseason? What is it like now that you are the starter? I know there's competition every day. You know that better than anybody else, but what is a day in the offseason like for Kevin Jennings now that you are the starter?
I think just taking the little things more serious, being able to stay in the pocket, help my old lineman out, footwork and all of that stuff, and also being more of a vocal leader. I think I kind of improved that a little bit, and also just gaining weight. I think I put on a little weight this year, so I know our coach is excited for that, and I'm excited for that as well. So, yeah.
What are you up to right now?
I'm 195 right now.
Okay, and that's after the big dinner last night.
Yeah. Ate a lot there, so yeah.
Just wanted to ask in general what you took away from going to the Manning Passing Academy and just being around just a bunch of talented quarterbacks.
Man, that was a great camp. Just being able to be along outside of them. It was, I think it was 48 guys, and the kids as well. Just being able to coach the kids. It was a good moment for me, and eye-opening moment for me, how well they look up to us and all of that. And just being able to get along with the players, Eli Manning, Peyton Manning, all the Manning, stuff like that, was a great experience, Going in, I thought everybody was going to be kind of like, a little stuck up and all of that. But as I got along, everybody was like, cool. I'm like, okay. Yeah, it was a cool moment for all of us. So, yeah, made good friends with a lot of those guys.
You got to meet John Gruden, too. He loves his quarterbacks.
Yeah.
How was that?
He was a great guy. John Gruden was a great guy. I mean, he came up to me and immediately started talking about SMU, Coach Lash, and all of that. So it was a good moment just to meet a legend like that.
When you enter this season, what are the key characteristics of your game that you want people to know improved or you've worked really hard on, and then where do you think the strengths of your game are now that, again, full season of the ACC and off season?
Yeah, I mean, the thing I've been working on that's going to improve for sure, definitely decision making. Last year it kind of cost me a little bit, but I think this year, going into my second year start, I think it's going to be way better. Being able to, just know defense before pro snap, pre snap, all of that. So I think that's going to be pretty well, and also just improvising as well. Just being able to get outside the pocket, make plays with my legs, arms, all of that. So, yeah.
You guys have brought back Dylan Goffney.
Right.
I know that was a big deal for you.
Yeah.
You bring back Jordan, Romello, other faces. You had Ymir Knight, Link Rhodes, arriving soon, or if he's already here. But a lot of new faces in that wide receiver room too. What is that group looking like overall?
Man, we got some dogs out there. We got some depth. We got, like you said, Jordan Hudson, Romello Branson, all of those guys. We got freshmen coming in, competing, getting better each and every day, and they're going to have a big year this year. So we got Jalen Cooper, Isaiah Robertson, all of those guys. So I'm excited to see what their receiver room's going to hold, and it's going to be a big year for them as well.
And just to go off of that a little bit, I did want to ask about Ymir Knight specifically because nobody got to see him in the spring, arrives this summer. Yeah. What can SMU fans expect from him?
He's a dog. He's a short guy, but he's quick, fast, go up and get the ball no matter where it is, And just his personality, honestly, I think you guys will love him. Just how he acts, how he carries himself. SMU fans will definitely love him.
We might not be able to notice it, but are there any changes coming to the offense, any tweaks that you guys have been working on a little bit?
Not really. I mean, Coach Lash has been asking me, is there anything I'm comfortable with, anything I want to add and stuff like that. So he's definitely asking me that type of stuff. So we'll see this upcoming year for sure.
Is there a little bit of a chip on the shoulder the way the season ended, just as a whole for the guys that return?
Yeah, it'll always be a chip on the shoulder. Everybody called our last season a fluke, so I think it's our job to come in and prove everybody wrong that it wasn't a fluke and do it again. So, our season didn't end how we wanted it to end, but our goal is to make it to, beyond farther than that level and also win it all.
Awesome. All right. Well, looking forward to it. Fall camp just around the corner, so hydrate up and enjoy it.
For sure.
Kevin Jennings, SMU starting quarterback.
Y'all. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the On the Pony Express podcast with Billy Embody. Follow us on your socials on X at SMU_on3 and on Instagram at On3SMU. And keep it locked to OnThePonyExpress.com for more coverage.